Hey guys, new discount, Bulletproof Saws and BLUESAWS.com. Hope everybody's doing all right. I'm making a quick 660 kit build video, and I'm not trying to go through all the steps. We've done a bunch of different things in other videos for you to get a saw together from scratch. What I wanted to do is I get to talk to a lot of folks and different things that folks, not complain about, but have problems with. And one of them is what to do, like how to manage the bolts, know what goes where. The first thing I tell everybody is the IPLs for steel, the illustrated parts lists, are a good resource. It's going to pretty much tell you where everything goes, what size a bolt is. If you can't tell, for example, where an M16 may go as opposed to an M12 or an M20, the IPL will tell you that. So what I tell guys to do when you're building a kit, especially if you're familiar with it, I can throw all the parts in a jar, shake them up, and you're going to be able to put it together. But this is more for the guys who've only done a couple kits, or this is their first kit. And one of the things I'll tell you is in with the crankshaft is all the screws. What I did with this so far was I pressed in the crank. First, I clean up the case. I make sure it's spotless, and this came pretty darn clean from the factory. It was a good-looking case. I clean up the crank. I clean everything up, and I do that by spraying it. I use gasoline in a refillable pump sprayer. You'll see it in other videos. And I wash everything down just to make sure there's no swarf. 3, 4, 5 plus years ago, there'd be a lot of shavings on these cases from the milling and everything else and tapping holes. And sometimes you'd see it where there was enough, shavings in a hole that you'd go to put in a bolt and it would goof you up. So I'm still, even though it appears to not be necessary anymore, I still clean the case down real good. I press the case together. If you haven't seen my video, I have a really good one on how to press a case together in 30 seconds or less. And it goes super quick. So I have the case pressed together, the gasket's in it. I haven't trimmed the gasket yet. And the next step on this build would be doing the case bolts. So what I was telling you is all the bolts. It comes in 12 packets. I tell people not to take these bolts out of the packets because it's real easy to figure out what goes where if you leave them in the packets. So I know I have to do case bolts. I know there is, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 case bolts on this saw. So I know that it's not the flywheel nut. And in the package with the flywheel nut, you're going to have the flywheel key, and you're going to have a little tiny M4 screw, and that's going to be for your bar plate to hold it on or your chain tensioner in, depending on. It's the same screw, you could use it in either place. There'll be another one with the chain tensioner set up. Then you go, it's not going to be your bar studs or bar nuts, so you don't need that yet. We have 2 of the self-tapping ones. One has 3, 6, and one has 2. These are going to be for your AV mounts and also for your handlebar. So you're not using that right away. You have a pack of M4s. It's going to be 3, 6, 7, 8 M4s. These 8 M4s are going to be 2 for your oiler and then your plastic piece around the PTO. Then we're going to go another pack with 4 bolts, and one's going to be a 35 or 40 millimeter bolt. That's going to be for your recoil, because the 3 are for the recoil for the short ones. Well, it would be this side. And then you're going to have the one long one for your brake handle. So you're not using that. They're all together. You can't lose them when they're in the packets. Come to another one with 6 bolts and 2 washers. It's going to have the shortest bolts in the whole kit. Those are for the front of your muffler. Then you got your 2 M6s for the bottom of your muffler, the top of the muffler, and then you have, wait a minute. No, you have your M6s for the bottom of the muffler, the little short M5 by 10 maybe. They're shorties for for the top of the muffler, and then you have your M5s for muffler to the cylinder. In that packet, there's 2 washers. Those 2 washers, I don't use them on the muffler. I think a lot of people think they go on the muffler. I don't think they go on the muffler personally. I think even the IPL would back me up on that, not 100% sure. The way these bolts work is that they have hashes in the bottom of the head of the bolt, and that locks into things. Where I don't want that to lock in is when I'm putting the coil on, with my two bolts to put my coil on. I have seen it where the hashes on the bottom of the bolts could goof up the fins on the coil, and then on the other side where you attach your kill switch, you have a little O connection on the wire. It could, as you tighten it, it wants to spin, and you can wind up hitting against the case and breaking it. It's no big deal to repair the wire, put a new fitting on the wire. Not a big deal, but the washers seem to alleviate that. So that's where I use the washers personally. We have 2 carb bolts, or nuts. You know you're not using them. So now we're down to 4 packets. You got 4 cylinder bolts. They're usually black. They're M6s on this 660, and you know you're not using them right away for your case bolts. Then we are down to 2 shorty, they're not the shortest M5s, but they're the second shortest M5s in the kit. And those 2 are going to be for your AV mount over top left of the PTO. What else do we got? We have a kit with 4, what are these for? Plastics. Now, okay, so now you're down to two sets of M5s. This set here, I need, what is it, 3, 6, 7, 8 of them. So there's 8 of them in here. These are going to be your case bolts. The bag with 8 M5s. You're going to use 6 in the case to put the case halves together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the additional 2, because they're longer than the other ones, you're going to use for your coil. That's what those are going to be for. Then you have your other M5s just to attach your top shroud, and there's one more for, I can't think of it at the moment. But that's an easy way to know where everything goes. When you're up to doing your oiler, you have your pack of M4s, you open it up then. If you're doing your AVs, you know, putting on the rear handle where you screw into the AVs. Those, I call them P6s, not M6s. Well, I think that's the proper name for them. It's not just that I call them that. And they're self-tappers to go into plastic. So they stand out. You're going to have 2 and then 3, 6. I can't remember the numbers. I've done it so many times. Like I said, guys who've done this a million times, you can throw every one of them bolts in a jar. I know you know what bolt goes where and it's not a problem. But for new guys, and even I keep them separate. Until I need them, I don't open them up. And then when I open them up, I use these little metal dishes that I have 5,000 of, and I wind up stacking more crap in these things than you'd believe. But I have these all over the place. I have them out stuck to the skid steer that we're working on, even with parts in it, and I find them to be super handy. I hope that helps people with how to manage the bolts. There's 12 bags. Each bag goes to an operation pretty much of your build. And if you just scroll through this video, I hope it helps you out and keeps you organized as you go about your build. Anyhow, guys, I'm not going to go through the thing. I'm going to button this up and start, you know, doing a little bit of work on this to get this out the door. That's it for a video. True Grit Scott, Bulletproof Saws, and BLUESAWS.com. Stay safe, everybody.